again, but this time, Lisa realizes she can change the future and pushes Milhouse in front of the car instead. That might
Every single horror episode of The Simpsons you may have missed in 28 minutes or less. If you guys want to watch the original video, it is by Flynn Theory. Let's do this.
Here are the 6 latest Treehouse of Horror episodes you might have missed. First, we have Season 30's Treehouse of Horror XXIX. Treehouse of Horror 29. The episode starts with Homer winning an eating contest against the monstrous Cthulhu. Homer wins, and his one wish is to eat the Cthulhu. I shouldn't be surprised. The first segment of the episode is called Intrusion of the Potty Snatchers and starts at the underwater base of Mapple. Think about the company Apple, but under the sea. On screen, the late Steve Mobs announces a new MyPhone, but once the audience are glued to their phones, the new CEO of the company creeps off stage and he's a plant alien on a mission to make Earth one giant potted fern. Now we're talking.
The time has come. Commence operations.
The aliens launch spores from their planet, and once they hit Springfield, it's like a twisted gardening show. Everyone turns into plant versions of themselves. Comic book guy, never missing a chance to drop some trivia, says it's an homage to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but of course that movie was just a knockoff of The Thing.
I will help you, but first, you are in danger. You can crash at my pad.
No one says pad anymore. Run!
Milhouse and Bart figure out what's going on and bolt out of there to tell Homer and Marge what's going on. But of course, he's too late. They've become plants. Bart and Lisa try to escape in a police car and they see the chaos along the way.
I'm not a plant!
Prove it. Name the roster of the Glasgow Soccer Club.
But Lou turns into a leafy version of himself before they can get away. Pretty soon, Bart and Lisa are all leafy too.
Goodbye, sister. The last sound you hear will be...
But it turns out the plant people have been transported to an actual utopia.
Welcome to your new paradise.
So in the end, the nightmarish scenario ends up kind of being a dream come true. Well, for Lisa, anyway. It wouldn't be a Treehouse of Horror episode without a confusing ending. The next segment is called Multiplicity, and it starts with a seemingly innocent sleepover at the Van Houten household. Milhouse, Nelson, and Bart wake up groggy after drinking a mysterious drink, only to find themselves locked in a cell. The door of the cell is opened by Lisa.
Always beware of the Diddy drinks.
Not Lisa. I'm Penelope.
Okay, Penelope, shall I say? A British alter ego who apparently likes to trap kids. Penelope, one of Lisa's many personalities, is in a full-on villain mode and acts super offended when the boys don't beg for an encore of her performance. She shoves them back into the cell because she loves the drama.
All right, you little beasties. Are you ready for a trip to the Scottish Highlands?
After killing Willie, Lisa is now Scottish. Things get dark fast when Lisa takes out Milhouse with a hydro press and Nelson gets impaled by a forklift. Bart finally asks what's happening and Lisa recounts her villain origin story. Bart had the nerve to mess with her spelling test answers and got her an F. The horror.
On that day, the beast was born!
In a twist of mercy, Lisa gives Bart one last chance to redeem himself, and he does with a moving speech about being a great brother, just in time to avoid being turned into human garbage. Finally, we have the last segment called Geriatric Park. Cue the Jurassic Park theme music. Mr. Burns opens up a brand new park for Springfield's elderly, except this isn't your average retirement home. No, Mr. Burns thought it would be fun to mix old people's DNA with dinosaur DNA.
Could make me a fortune.
That sounds about right, doesn't it? At first, things seem chill and the seniors are rejuvenated. Plus, they have strength that would make a bodybuilder jealous. But then, Homer, who's always thinking with his stomach, cranks up the temperature after Grandpa complains it's too cold. Bad move, Homer. The grannies and grandpas start turning into full-on dino monsters.
You even taste disappointing.
Springfield's visitors, and of course Mr. Burns, don't stand a chance as the elders go on a rampage, and Marge's mom and grandpa turn on the Simpson family. But Lisa confronts them, realizing all they needed was a little respect and affection. Turns out if you cherish your elders, they won't eat you. The Simpsons family escapes unharmed, but in true Springfield fashion, the helicopter flying them to safety is piloted by none other than a dinosaur-shaped Agnes Skinner. Guess they're not out of the woods just yet, huh? Treehouse of Horror 30 starts at Springfield General Hospital, where Marge is giving birth.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
What? Not a boy. What's Bart? It's like introducing Frankenstein to Dracula.
They're asked if they want to take a girl instead. Maggie is introduced to the family, but she's tested positive for evil.
The baby is making us kill ourselves.
Ned thinks it's his job to sacrifice her because she has the mark of the beast, and Maggie murders them all, introducing the 666th episode, and it starts off with Danger Things, which is, yes, a parody of Netflix's Stranger Things. It starts with Milhouse Van Houten as the helpless Will Byers, and he, of course, is the kid who gets sucked into another dimension after a marathon night of playing the world's most frustrating video game, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, on the Atari 2600. Naturally, things get even weirder when he's kidnapped by a Demogorgon.
I never get to finish my Safely song.
Milhouse's dad, Kirk, loses his mind, tearing down walls and hanging Christmas lights in a desperate attempt to communicate with his son. We've all seen this before.
If Milhouse is in another dimension, he can communicate with us by blinking these lights.
I've just now gotten into Stranger Things, been watching with some friends of mine, and I'm just now getting to the part where the son is gone and the mom is like knocking holes in the wall with sledgehammers looking for him.
Poor Milhouse is stuck in the over-under, and what's his first move? He tries to hit up Lisa. Sadly, after realizing Lisa's still not into him, he does the only sensible thing, hangs up on her. Lisa heads over to the mall where Bart and Nelson are busy in the arcade, because priorities.
This is my best game ever. I'm not leaving till it's done. Come on, Bart! Fine.
The three of them head to Frink, Springfield's mad scientist, for help. Lisa goes full 11 and heads into the water.
Oh my god! It's a twisted version of reality!
Once she crosses over, it turns out Springfield is crawling with Demogorgons. Lisa manages to use her psychic powers to save the day, but not before Homer, who's now working for Mr. Burns' secret government program. Mr. Burns has opened a portal to the over-under and is letting out the monsters. They settle on staying in the other world because housing is cheaper, and you can walk everywhere. Homer's over the moon that there's no Ned Flanders in the over-under until a Demogorgon Flanders pops up.
Howdly doodly, neighborino.
Next up, we've got Heaven Swipes Right, where Homer accidentally chokes on a hot dog during a football game and dies. But plot twist, Homer wasn't supposed to die yet.
The paramedics couldn't lift your corpse, so they rolled it into a lake. Pretty bloated.
When they try to send him back to his body, it's too decomposed, so he gets stuck in the body of a handsome, athletic dude instead.
Now don't freak out, but it's me, your husband Homer.
When he revealed something only Marge would know, she believes it's him and gets all excited. Finally, a hot Homer. But her excitement is short-lived as Homer quickly wrecks the new body by chowing down on junk food. Surprise, surprise. Next, Homer hops into Principal Skinner's boss, Superintendent Chalmers, and Bart takes full advantage to terrorize Skinner.
Give yourself a purple nurple.
Until Chalmers gets a look at his own paycheck and promptly dies of shock. After a brief stint in the body of a monkey that looks suspiciously like Mr. Teeny, Homer ends up in none other than Moe Sislak's body. But wait, it turns out Moe has secretly taken over Maggie's body, much to Marge's disgust.
I'm very thirsty.
Ew.
Finally, we've got When Harry Met Slimy, a crazy parody of Oscar-winning movie The Shape of Water
Which one's the hairy one and which one's the slimy one?
starring Selma as Eliza, and King as, you guessed it, the Amphibian Man.
You don't like what you see.
Quite the contrary. Ah is our word for beautiful.
In the least likely love story ever, Selma falls head over heels for Kang, an alien, and helps him escape Mr. Burns. She recruits Homer when she tells him she'll be going to a distant planet and he'll never see her again. The pair are chased up to the top of Mount Springfield by soldiers, where Selma is shot and killed. But no worries, Kang, now wielding the Infinity Gauntlet from the Marvel movies, wipes out the soldiers. He resurrects Selma and tells her he's pregnant. That's right, he's pregnant, because, you know, that's how things work in alien love stories. To make things even weirder, Patty shows up and falls in love with Kang's brother, Kodos. After this, the two couples embark on a bizarre honeymoon, where Patty and Selma promptly start nagging their new alien spouses. It's an intergalactic happily ever after. Treehouse of Horror 31 starts on Election Day, and everyone in Springfield goes down to the voting station in their COVID masks. Of course, Homer isn't wearing one.
You slept all day? You didn't vote?
Hey, how bad could it be?
Turns out Homer was dreaming that, and it cuts to a few weeks later when the world has been destroyed. The first segment is called Toy Gory. You can see what this is going to be a parody of. And Bart is about to donate his old toys to charity, but in classic Bart fashion, he's got to say goodbye first.
Goodbye.
Not the teary, heartwarming kind of goodbye, though. Instead, he goes full-on Toy Terminator, maiming, smashing, and absolutely obliterating his childhood playthings in the most over-the-top ways possible. Once the
Tell me this is a parody of Toy Story.
Carnage is done, he stuffs the toy remains back into the box like a true psychopath and earns a reward for being so charitable. What's the prize? A shiny new Radioactive Man action figure with real radioactive activity. As soon as Bart leaves, Radioactive Man comes to life, all optimistic about his future. That is, until a Krusty the Clown doll steps in like a jaded war vet, telling Radioactive Man the real deal. He shows him the broken, beaten corpses of Bart's past toy victims. Think Sid from Toy Story. Of course, Bart can't resist testing Radioactive Man's superhero powers, and the next day he's got the poor toy in a save the city from a bomb scenario, which in Bart's mind means tossing him in the microwave. But Bart gets distracted by Homer and leaves Radioactive Man to slowly melt into a puddle.
Inside's melting. Decals loosening. I will have my
The toys? Oh, they're done being the victims. So that night, they band together and drag Bart to his treehouse, where they give him a taste of his own twisted medicine. When he wakes up to an army of angry toys, he admits he wouldn't have tortured the toys if he knew they had feelings.
You treat me bad and you know I have feelings.
You're not wrong there, Milhouse. The toys, not buying any of it, decide it's time for a little plastic surgery. When Lisa finds Bart the next morning, he's, let's just say, not quite himself. He's got a pull string stitched into his back, and his creepy response is,
I'm Bart Simpson. I love my mother and father.
Oh, we've lost him.
And that's it for Bart Simpson. The next segment is called Into the Homerverse, and it's Halloween night with Homer up to his usual nonsense at the nuclear power plant. Marge calls wondering where the candy is, and Homer realizes he's already eaten it all, so he goes to search the plant for more snacks. Enter a mysterious machine with nickel slots that Homer, being Homer, mistakes for a vending machine. And here come the alternate dimension Homers popping out like some kind of Homer infestation.
Who are you? I'm Disney Princess Homer.
Now the town's got 6 Homers on their hands, each one more crazy than the last, and Springfield is running out of food. Marge is stuck trying to feed this army of Homers, while Lisa explains they need to shove the Homers back into their dimensions, pronto, but not before they burst out into song.
Dad, you tore a hole in the space-time continuum.
After the fight has died down, Mr. Burns learns that in some dimensions he's not the richest, so he sends them all back. Marge finds herself stuck with the one remaining Homer, a noir detective version which sounds like a win, until he suddenly morphs into Cat Homer and heads off. The final part of the episode is B9 Rewind, where Lisa's turning 9 and, well, she's just not feeling it. While writing in her journal about how lame her birthday is, she gets called downstairs for cake, only to have Sherry and Terry, the official mean girls of Springfield, mock her party like it's their job. Lisa mutters something dramatic about wanting to die, and bam! A car crashes through the wall and flattens her. Except, Lisa wakes up back at her desk, like nothing happened.
It must have been a dream.
It's deja vu all over again, and the car smashes through the wall again. But this time, Lisa realizes she can change the future, and pushes Milhouse in front of the car instead. That might be a bit too far, Lisa. Nelson pulls her aside where they both get crushed by the treehouse, and Lisa wakes back up at her desk. She dies multiple times more, and Nelson comes up to talk to her. They figure out they're both stuck in this bizarre time loop where they die in increasingly ridiculous ways. Nelson tells Lisa it's time to team up, but just as they're about to high-five, he trips and falls into a wood chipper. That's gonna leave a mark. Lisa, of course, follows, thinking it's the only way to speak to Nelson again.
There's other alternatives! Now you tell me!
It then turns into a montage of Lisa and Nelson dying over and over in crazy different ways. Desperate, they turn to Comic Book Guy, the only one who really knows his way around sci-fi tropes. He's got the answers all right, telling them to try everything from being nice to saving whales, but sadly, nothing works. Finally, Nelson breaks the loop by hurling a cinder block at poor old Gil, who was driving the original car that crashed through the house, thus ending their endless respawns. Lisa has a heartwarming epiphany about enjoying life as it is, while Nelson, well, he's learned absolutely nothing. Sounds about right. This episode starts in a peaceful forest full of cute Disney animals. Bart, or Barty, shall I say, is a deer, and Marge is also a deer. They run from the hunters, but he can't find Marge. After looking around, he sees that Homer saved her from the evil hunter, Mr. Burns. And cue Treehouse of Horror 32. This segment is called Bong Joon-ho's This Side of Parasite, and it starts with the Simpsons living in a house so flooded it could double as an aquarium. Bart gets a job job as a tutor for the daughter of a rich man in town, and naturally, their next logical move is to sneak into his house and set up shop in the basement. Simple plan, right? After Kirk Van Houten is told he has the poor person smell, the rich man sends him away, opening up a job for Homer.
Stupid rich people. While they're gone, we eat their food, drink their booze, and break their complicated toilet.
The family gets settled when Kirk rings the doorbell, begging to be let in. He opens up a secret door to the downstairs, where his family is hidden in the basement.
Everything was great until you parasites took our jobs.
It turns out almost all of Springfield lives down here, and they start fighting to see who's worthy enough to live down there. Mr. Burns turns up, because what would a Treehouse of Horror episode be without Mr. Burns? And the mob goes for him.
My last words are, I'm too young and beautiful to die. Take a baby instead.
The next morning, bodies everywhere, both inside and out, and Maggie slides down them like it's a playground. The next part is a parody of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Bart's busy terrorizing Lisa and Maggie with scary stories. Terrified, they run to the safety of Homer and Marge's bedroom, right in the middle of, well, a very intimate moment.
Oh, Marge, I did a chore today.
Which one?
Unloaded the dishwasher. Oh, the way.
Fed up with Bart's endless horror stories, Homer decides it's time to put an end to it and heads outside to chop down Bart's treehouse. But after a couple of swings, he's exhausted and passes out like he just ran a marathon. Cue the thunderstorm. The tree, feeling pretty annoyed about nearly being hacked to pieces, comes to life and kicks Homer into the house. Things go from weird to weirder when the tree heads to the local drive-in and spots Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. And, triggered by laughter over a dumb tree, he goes on a killing spree. But it doesn't stop there. When it stumbles across a Christmas tree farm, the tree becomes disgusted by the sight of its fallen comrades and starts touching other trees, bringing them to life like some twisted forest revolution. Even wooden objects like baseball bats join the uprising.
A legion of forest grumps is heading into town, bent on revenge for years of bad treatment. It's just in my chest.
Homer and the citizens of Springfield prepare for war, but before they can do much damage, the trees unleash pollen that weakens the humans. After the trees have wiped out the town, they celebrate by dancing around the statue of Jebediah Springfield, which is now a tree of dead bodies. Homer wakes up, ready to save the day, only to get knocked out cold again by a wooden bat. At least you tried, Homer. The next segment is called Dead Ringer, which starts with Lisa getting thrown into a deadly trend, which starts when Sherry and Terry, as usual, exclude her from a party where they watched a TikTok video that's cursed. You watch it, you die in 7 days. You know, classic horror trope. And to prove it's legit, they immediately drop dead in front of Lisa.
I killed Jerry and Larry.
Bart, who always wants an opportunity to tease his sister, tells her everyone but her went to the party. Milhouse, the party's self-appointed bouncer, proudly tells her he watched the TikTok 8 times, only to be stabbed by 8 invisible knives. Now on a mission, Bart and Lisa drag poor Grandpa into the madness, forcing him to watch the cursed video and narrate it to them, because nothing screams quality time with grandkids like helping them survive a viral curse. Groundskeeper Willie reveals the backstory of Mopy Mary, a girl who got a less than romantic gift on Valentine's Day, jumped into a well, and lingered there for 7 days. Willie found her body, but just covered it up and walked away like it was no big deal. Real compassionate, Willie.
Fortunately, it was the end of my shift.
Lisa is now fully invested, so she watches the cursed TikTok and immediately gets the classic horror phone call.
7 days.
But Lisa's not one to back down, calls the mysterious voice a coward, and demands they get it over with. But instead, she's placed on hold.
Kill me now, or kill me never.
Fine.
When Mopy Mary finally crawls out of the TV, Lisa diffuses the situation by giving her a Valentine's card. They become friends, until Lisa's clinginess drives Mary to leap back into the well. Man, Lisa, you really are just doomed to not have any friends. Moving right along, we have Treehouse of Horror 33, which gave us our first look at The Simpsons as anime characters. Yes, you heard that right. So, in the first entry, called The Pookadook, Marge is trying to do the good old bedtime routine, right? She's scanning the bookshelf for something nice and calm to read to Maggie, like a story about bunnies, or maybe an uplifting tale about how Homer still has a job. But no, Maggie's fixated on this creepy book called The Pookadook, a book Marge has zero memory of ever buying. Suspicious, right? But Maggie insists because, of course, babies don't pick the cozy bedtime story, they pick the one that looks like it'll summon ghosts. Marge gives in, starts reading, and guess what? She and Maggie are immediately freaked out, like totally freaked out. Marge slams the book shut, throws it away, and that should have been the end of it. But oh no, the universe has other plans.
It's okay, sweetie. It's It's okay.
That night, Maggie wakes up screaming and Marge finds the Pookadook sitting in her crib like it's auditioning for the next horror movie.
I thought I put that on the shelf.
Furious, Marge takes drastic measures. She tosses it into the trash outside, far away. Crisis averted, right? Wrong. The next morning, ding dong, the doorbell rings and guess who's back? The Pookadook, looking fresh as a daisy with its creepy pages completely repaired. Marge decides it's time for the ultimate showdown. She throws the book onto the barbecue, figuring that fire solves everything. But nope, out pops a page telling her that burning the book is exactly what it wanted. Marge tries to get rid of it, but suddenly, boom, she's possessed. And now the Pookadook, controlling Marge, is hell-bent on ending little Maggie. Cue the family rushing in for an emergency intervention. The Pookadook sends the rest of the family into an aquarium sleepover because if you're gonna possess a mom and terrorize her baby, might as well make it an exclusive show. But Maggie's no fool. She strips down and hides in the basement, luring the Pookadook into a showdown. Maggie tries everything to fight back, throws a flaming doll, fires a crayon gun, and finally resorts to the good old trip and fall trick. The Pookadook slips on a crayon, goes flying, and boom, knocked out cold. But wait, there's more. The Pookadook wakes up to find itself tied up with Maggie dangling a mug in front of it like it's some family therapy session. Marge snaps out of her possession, coughs up the Pookadook, and vacuum sucks the demon into the birthday gift she never wanted. Just as the family has their heartwarming reunion, Homer and the kids come back from the aquarium sleepover, and the kids are seasick. Because in the Simpsons universe, there's no such thing as a peaceful ending. Now we have the anime entry titled Death Toome, which starts with Lisa stumbling upon a mysterious book titled...
They did a Death Note parody in Simpsons? Bruh.
Death Toome.
Any person whose name is written in this death tome will meet their death and be dead.
This is no ordinary notebook. It's got powers. Write someone's name in it and poof, they die in a totally unique, non-repeated fashion. Not exactly light reading for an elementary schooler. First target, Snake, of course, who's about to commit yet another crime. Lisa writes his name and sure enough, he drops dead. Realizing she now holds the power of life and death in her hands, Lisa runs up to her room for a little moral reflection. Or, to plot her next move. In walks Steve Johnson. Yeah, weird name, I know, but it works for him.
In my realm, I am called Steve Johnson.
He's a very chill Shinigami, a god of death, and he's ready to do Lisa's bidding. Downstairs, Mr. Burns is yammering on about his new evil scheme, Globo-Warm, which is designed to melt the ice caps so he can park his yacht. Lisa's had enough and writes Burns into the death tome with the simple wish for him to die in his sleep. Naturally, Mr. Burns face plants into a barbecue instead. Close enough, right? So begins Lisa's murder montage, eliminating corporate bigwigs with increasingly ridiculous deaths. Just when she thinks she's cleared out all the baddies, a mysterious figure called L tips off the authorities, exposing the deaths as suspicious. Lisa's spidey sense kicks in, and she realizes that L is none other than Bart. With Bart ready to spill her secret, Lisa prepares to scribble his name into the book, but ends up writing Steve Johnson's instead. Problem solved, right? Lisa's now the new Shinigami in town, and let's just say she's not thrilled about the job change. In Simpsons World, the entry starts with Homer being stoked because he's just become the monorail conductor in a theme park dedicated to the Simpsons universe. Everything's going great until, oops, it's revealed that Homer is actually a robot. Big shock, right? After malfunctioning and damaging his head, the park workers drag him off for repairs, but Homer isn't going quietly. He cranks up his AI, becoming fully self-aware and, naturally, super dangerous.
Where's Marge? Where's my family?
Homer breaks free, wakes up robot Lisa, and maxes out her self-awareness too, but she short-circuits a bit. The two of them, joined by the rest of the family, make a break for it through Springfield, dodging tourists who keep asking Homer to reenact the hedge meme. Homer's fed up, so when Bart shuts off human protection mode, Homer shoves the tourists into the hedge instead. Chaos, naturally, ensues. Ralph bots descend upon the family, and things get dicey when they run out of Simpsons-themed t-shirts to fend them off. Just when it looks like all hope is lost, Marge rolls up in the Canyonero, saving the day and smashing a Matt Groening statue on the way out. As they drive off into the sunset, the camera zooms out to reveal they're now in Bob's Burgers Land. Nice little crossover there for all the Fox fans. Finally, we have Treehouse of Horror 34, which is the latest entry in this long-running series and proved the Simpsons still have a few good tricks and treats to share. In the first story, Wild Barts Can't Be Token, Mayor Quimby drops a bombshell. The art museum is closed forever, and what's the grand plan plan for all that priceless art? NFTs, baby! That's right, Quimby is turning every last masterpiece into a digital token. But wait, Homer and Bart have other ideas. They sneak into the museum where they find the NFT-O-Matic 3000, a machine that converts art into NFTs. Because why wouldn't Springfield have one of those? Homer, being Homer, tries to immortalize the museum's most famous boat painting, but just as he's about to do it, Bart, classic Bart, moons the machine and gets sucked into the digital ether. Bart is now an NFT, and he's officially lost in the blockchain.
Technology!
Homer freaks out when he discovers Bart's value, a whopping $1.5 million. Ain't that bad at all, right? And it's not the family reunion he envisioned. Bart's gone, and Homer's left screaming his lungs out, even louder when Marge gets involved. But instead of panicking, Marge decides the only way to save her son is by entering the blockchain herself. You know, just another day in the Simpson household. Cue Marge's journey on the block train, a high-speed, crypto-powered, Snowpiercer-style ride through a bleak, icy world. The train is fueled by a fear of missing out, and Marge is now valued at a whopping $8.02. She starts at the back of the train, the slums of NFTville, where she accidentally kills another low-life NFT, and she levels up the train. She's now in the room with the Cuddle Kittens NFTs. Adorable, yes, but lethal.
Rescue Bart! I need to kill a bunch of you guys!
Armed with nothing but her wits and her pearl necklace, Marge fights her way through the train cars, taking down NFTs left and right, leveling up along the way. In the real world, Homer and Lisa are tracking Marge's progress on their phones. Naturally, Milhouse's dad shows up, threatening to put Milhouse in the NFT machine, and in true Milhouse fashion, he gets turned into an NFT. But not just any NFT, he merges with Ralph to become a Ralph House, a terrifyingly hilarious hybrid worth, well, not that much. Back on the block train, Marge finally reaches Bart, who's living like a blockchain king, literally. He's sitting on a throne ordering around ape NFTs like they're his personal butlers. Bart's fully embraced his NFT life and has no intention of leaving. But there's a twist. Mr. Burns wants to buy Bart for $100 million, and before anyone can stop him, Homer tokens himself, too. Now, Homer's aboard the blockchain, living it up with fancy Bored Ape NFTs, and feasting on a gourmet twerked chicken NFT. Life's looking good, until the NFT market crashes. The train screeches to a halt, and Homer's value drops to zero. Back in 1993, we all saw Sideshow Bob almost sing Bart to death. But fast forward to the present, and things are even darker. Lisa's now a criminal psychologist, and she's called in to solve a murder mystery. Officer Nelson is hot on the trail of a killer targeting Springfield's firstborns. First, it's poor Rod Flanders, then the bully Montaigne Prince, and eventually, even Sherry McElberry. Lisa is desperate and goes to the one person who might have answers, Sideshow Bob. But Bob only mocks her because, well, it's Bob. She figures out the first means they're the firstborn and heads to a warehouse where the killer's lair is. Nelson gets murdered, and Lisa finds his body. But when she walks into another room, she sees it's identical to her childhood bedroom. She looks at the security camera to see if the killer appears anywhere, but plot twist, she watches herself kill Nelson.
Can't be the killer. I turned my trauma into healing.
Her split personality has been committing all the murders in town, and it lands Lisa in jail. It turns out Maggie is the prison guard who helped with Lisa's plan to kill a bunch of people in the most gruesome ways, so she would land in prison with Bob. Naturally, this all ends in a dramatic musical number where Lisa stabs Bob and avenges Bart's death. Wow, pretty heavy, Lisa. Finally, we have Loutbreak, the last part of this episode. It starts when Homer's snack habit finally gets the best of him, and he drops a donut at the nuclear power plant. The donut rolls through some radioactive sludge, Homer eats it, and, well, things get weird. Homer burps and Ned Flanders turns into Homer Flanders? Yep, Ned is now a clone of Homer, complete with a beer gut, bald head, and a sudden obsession with football.
Why am I in church when football is on?
Pretty soon, everyone in Springfield is Homer. Ned's burps spread the virus faster than you can say, "Doh!" As Homer watches his Homer army grow, he can't help but celebrate because he's living in his own paradise. But after Lisa and Bart team up with Frink to fix things, Homer uses a back scratcher to rip his hazmat suit. He is the next to join the Homers, and Springfield's future is now one big burping bald-headed party. But
hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. It's your boy BlastphamousHD, Twisms.